Welcome back to Hollywood Unscripted with Natalie Driscoll. I'm Natalie, your host, mentor, and industry insider. If you're a hairstylist or makeup artist dreaming of making it big in Hollywood, you're in the right place. Today, I want to talk about one of the best kept secrets to becoming a go-to pro in the film and television industry. Talent is critical. You wouldn't even get in the door without it. Hollywood is swimming in talent. What really sets you apart, what keeps you in demand, is your deep industry knowledge, the kind that goes beyond the chair or makeup kit to show your understanding of how a production set truly operates. On today's episode, we're breaking down what it means to be in the know, why that's so highly valued, and most importantly, how you can develop this critical industry edge to elevate your Hollywood career. Trust me, knowledge isn't just power, it's career currency. All right, grab a pen and paper, but if you're driving, just focus on the road and let's get into it. In Hollywood, trust is everything, and trust, it relies on three things: practical skills, business knowledge, and your behavior. Directors, producers, department heads, they need to know you can adapt to the unpredictable chaos. That's a natural part of every production. And that trust doesn't come from just being talented. It comes from proving you truly get how things run on set. When you're equipped with the right industry knowledge, you're not just a hairstylist or makeup artist, you're someone who anticipates needs, makes quick decisions, and collaborates seamlessly with other departments to help the production run smoothly. It's not just about knowing how to do the perfect updo or nail a dramatic aging effect. It's about being so reliable that they don't just want you, they need you. I can't tell you how many times I've seen this play out firsthand. On set, most of us at a certain level can anticipate what's needed for one another. It's almost like a rhythm. But when someone doesn't have this mindset or skill, it reflects poorly, not just on them, but on the whole department. Hair and makeup are often lumped together, so if one falters, the other gets blamed too. And listen, don't get me wrong, I give grace to people learning the ropes or adjusting to new skills. I'm not that big of a hard ass. But when someone is lazy, disengaged, or refuses to anticipate needs, that's when the grace ends. Many of us, myself included, won't hesitate to let someone go and not call them back. Reliability and instinct, they come from industry knowledge, and they're the foundation of being in demand. Industry knowledge is more than mastering your specific craft. It's about knowing how all the moving pieces on set fit together and working in harmony with them. Here are 3 areas that can take your reputation from good to indispensable. Number 1, set etiquette. Hollywood sets are like mini cities with their own hierarchies and unspoken rules. Knowing when and how to approach crew members, understanding the roles of different departments, and respecting the chain of command can make or break your reputation. Professionalism on set means you'll get invited back time and time again. And let me tell you, I've recently had issues, or I shouldn't say recently, I've had issues for several years now where someone that's higher than me, they're very high up, was treating me very disrespectfully and was even threatening me. And I finally stood my ground. I stood up for myself, and I still don't know to this day if it caused me not to get called back. But there comes a time when you can't be treated disrespectfully, especially if you work your butt off, especially if you pull things out of the air, as I say, my Mary Poppins bag, when most people wouldn't do it, especially when you're carrying a lot of the weight of things within production. So I don't advocate getting treated disrespectfully or treated with threats. I could have taken this person to HR on 3 different occasions, but I chose not to. I dealt with it myself with that person, which I think in the long run has actually bit me in the butt. But I just didn't want to bring drama on, and I thought I could handle it myself. But time will tell, and I will deal with it and handle it when the time comes. But I'm sharing this because I want you to know that I do not advocate being treated horribly. There was another time when I was working on a lower budget thing. I got a major pay cut, but I wanted to help a friend out, and I was assistant department heading, and there was a director that treated me, well, it wasn't just me, it was treating the entire crew horribly, yelling the F word and just screaming at people all the time. And I snapped. I didn't snap in an ugly way, but they told us to do our job. And then he came in screaming and yelling. And I said, sure, come in. And I was I was done. I was fed up at that point. We stood aside, let him do his thing. Then they told us to go ahead and do last looks. I was doing my last looks, and he literally came up behind me, and I could feel his finger poking in the back of my head. And he was screaming. He's like, who is this? Who is this? Get her out of here. And I knew at that moment. I walked around the corner. I didn't turn around to him because I wasn't going to feed into it. And I walked around the other corner, and I told my department head, I said, I'm probably going to get fired. And I'm sorry to let you down, but enough's enough. This guy is horrible. He should not be working on sets. And sure enough, they waited till the end of the day. I was actually driving down the road, and they called, and my department had called, and they fired me. Well, it's the only job I've ever been fired from. I turned around, went back. I went and talked to the producers, and they were like, we don't condone this, but we're going to have to let you go. And I was like, actually, you making that move and you doing this is condoning it. So you do condone it. And the fact that you guys are allowing him to treat the entire crew and yourselves so poorly and so disgustingly says everything to me. Thank you. Good luck with your project. See you later. I've never seen them again. But again, I had to say something because I hope that they thought this through and they never hire that man again. I can understand that they have a lot of money in the game and they're going to choose him over trying to find a new director or the whole thing getting shut down. But I was not going to continue that. I'm glad I got fired. That's why I kind of did what I did, because I was like, I am not going to stay on this project. It's so toxic. It's disgusting. So anyways, that story, I don't tell very many people that, but now whoever listens to this is going to know. It's not my proudest moments, but there's a time and a place where I'm a fire sign, and I am fire, fire, fire. I am 3 fires full on. I've learned to control that fire, but if you push me, just like the story I was telling you before, if you threaten me to make my life miserable because I'm trying to do my job and you don't like hearing no, then I'm going to stand up for myself. You're not going to treat me like that. And the crazy part is that person never treated the man that was in place in the position ever, when that man said no all the time. So there just comes a time and a place where you have to weigh out, like, is this wrong? I'm not being hot-headed. This is wrong. I am getting treated like crap. And so anyways, again, I didn't cause this crazy dramatic scene. I just handled it one-on-one. But, we'll see where that goes. Anyways, going back to step 2 of where are we at? Take your reputation from good to indispensable. Yes. So 1 is set etiquette. 2, production timelines. Time is everything in production. If you know which moments during the day are non-negotiable, like a director shot setup or a talent's call time, you'll know how to prioritize your tasks better. Understanding a project schedule lets you stay ahead and avoid causing delays, a skill that makes heads turn. And in my membership, I teach you all about the call sheet and all of that. It's not something I can teach here on a podcast, but that is our timeline schedule. And if you are able to maneuver through that and understand timing and changes and all of this stuff, it's going to make you stand out. Okay, number 3, problem solving skills. What do you do when the lead actor's wig lace tears 5 minutes before a close-up? Knowledge about quick fixes and troubleshooting common hurdles will make you a problem-solving pro on set. And nothing speaks louder to producers than someone who keeps things moving smoothly. I was working on American Crime Story, The Assassination of Gianni Versace. I had just taken over as department head when production requested, or should I said begged, because they couldn't change things around, but if I could get a custom men's wig made in just 7 days. And for those that don't know wigs, they usually want like 3 weeks, 2 weeks minimum to get a wig made. So 7 days was just, I was like, listen, I'll ask the wig maker, and we had to get a full custom wig because it was a men's wig and there's no cheating it. It's not like I could have gotten a different wig and done a refront. It had to be so it didn't like look like a wig because we don't do that. Not only did it have to be fitted for the first time ever and designed specifically for the actor, but it also had to be ready to shoot the morning of in the first scene and shoot all day. So I called the wig maker and I was like, hey, this is what they're asking. This is what they're requesting. Can you do it? You can say no. She said, yeah, we'll do it. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Okay. So she did it. To make matters even more intense, I only had 2 hours to get the wig in hand that morning. I think it was like at 7 a.m. And I had to get it done before 9 a.m. So I had to apply it to the actor, cut and style it on him, and then present it to Ryan Murphy, who was the show creator, before he boarded his plane. Okay, let me break something down for you for a wig. Usually, it takes several fittings to get right, especially on a men's wig with exposed hairline. Luckily for me, he let me shave his head, so I didn't have to worry about that. Then, because they made it so fast, the whole piece of lace in the front of the hairline, it did this rippling thing. And so I had to go in and I had to cut pleats in it to try to release some of that tension to not ripple while he was shooting on camera. So that was another solution-based thing. But within those 2 hours, so going back, usually I have to wash the wig off to the actor, put it on a head block, cut it, style it, try to figure out what style I want, style it in all these little intricate ways so it looks realistic, and then get him in, fit it, see if the hairline needs to be tweaked, which we didn't have to because he let me shave it, and then cut it again, style it, figure out what looks good on his face shape, and all of that. And then sometimes you have to send it back to that wig maker, get tweaks made, and then do another fitting. So just to give you some context of what, if you don't know wigs, that's usually what it takes. And I had to do it all in 2 hours. So I was like, okay, I let them know, like, I'm going to do my best. Well, most people would immediately say, absolutely not. This is too much of a gamble under such tight conditions. But I worked with them and I knew I loved the actor. So I was just like, okay, let's do this. But it was so nerve-wracking, even though looking back, it's hilarious to visualize it happening again. But that morning, not only was I having to do that, but we were shooting a new flashback scene set in the 1980s, introducing the entire family of Darren Chris's character, who was Andrew Cunanan. He was that infamous murderer. It was a pivotal scene, and if Ryan wanted to approve the wig, it was critical to get it right. So that morning, I had to completely rely on my assistant department head and teammates to ensure everything else looked on point while I focused solely on the wig. I told him I didn't even have a second to look up or get distracted. On top of all that, two producers were coming in and out of the trailer, equally nervous, which didn't help because they were just hovering. But at one point, the actor, John, noticed and said, "Are you okay?" I was trying to cut the lace on the wig. And if you can't see me, sorry, but I'm like, my hands were shaking this hard and I couldn't even hardly cut the lace on the wig. And he was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No." Yeah, I have so much adrenaline going. It wasn't nerves. It was, well, maybe deep down it was nerves. At that point, we had been doing it. So it was just, it was, we had to move so fast and the adrenaline was pumping so hard. I couldn't stop. My hands were shaking. So it was hilarious. And, but it was just, it was overall, it was just such a wild time. But in the end, Ryan was happy. My team handled it really well. Everything was on point. They forgot to bring water to set, which I was like, how did they forget the water? Because everybody had to be sweaty. But it all worked out. It all turned out great. The scene was shot on schedule and we pulled it off. And moments like that remind me just how crucial preparation, problem solving, and staying calm under pressure are in this industry. So I hope you enjoyed that story. Sometimes I come across that picture and I'm like, oh, wow, I did a really great job for having 2 hours to prep that thing. Um, but anyways, I wind up getting to do John again and establish his wig for another show a couple years later. And we were able to really fine tune the look of that wig. He told me at one point on that show, he's like, "I love this one so much more." And I was like, "Yeah, because I had hours, if not days, to prep this baby." So, anyways, let's move on. The good news for you is you don't need decades in the business to start building industry knowledge. It took me decades. Well, I shouldn't say decades because I've only been in it for 17, 18 years, but it took me a good solid decade to really hone the skills, but also learn wigs, also learn period hairstyling, also learn character work kind of came pretty easily and naturally. You just kind of take it as it comes. But the wigs and the period hairstyling really is a huge major one that is highly in demand. So I highly recommend that. And not just hairstyling, I'm sorry, I talk as a hairstylist, but makeup as well. But I just want to share with you how you can accelerate that learning curve because that's the whole point of the membership I put together. One, you can shadow and observe. You need to volunteer to assist on smaller projects, observe how other teams operate, and focus on how their roles connect to yours. There's so much you can learn just from watching how people communicate and manage their workflows. I cannot stress enough how important it is to be a sponge. Do every role, day play forever to sponge up what you want and what you don't want, how you want to be and how you don't want to be. Two, seek mentorship. A mentor will teach you things you never figure out on your own, at least not for a while or wider way, and sometimes not ever, depending on if you ever do something that you get to do on set and you learn from someone else. So finding a mentor, like I said, sponging and taking jobs and sponging off different mentors is great. And it's not just about hairstyling or makeup, but about surviving and thriving in the Hollywood industry, the machine. Mentors are your fast track to learning the unwritten rules about the business and also about the technical skills. Okay, number three, self-directed learning. You can't wait for experience to teach you everything, from documentaries to industry books, and even following production professionals on Instagram. You have the tools to learn at your fingertips. Never stop asking questions and never stop observing. I shared a story with you in a previous episode about getting a wig heavy job, even though I didn't have very much experience working with them. Getting that job and mentorship really catapults my career to where it is today. My department head was so kind and generous to share his knowledge. And then while I was on that job, I had a moment where the wig maker from Canada happened to visit us on set, and it aligned for me to have a personal moment. And she shared a lot of her knowledge as well. So I got to get a one-on-one session with this incredible wig maker for her to share different tips and tricks. It was just out of the blue. She wasn't even supposed to come down. So it was beautiful. You never know what's going to happen. It truly has shaped my career and made me the artist I am today. I absolutely love wigs, and to be honest, I'm really good at them. I've had so many people from the crew or actors tell me that they didn't know actors were wearing wigs until they saw them without them. When I was doing impeachment, we got nominated for an Emmy, and I'm not huge into social media. I know I need to get better at it. I'm trying, but it's not really my thing. I remember my third reached out to me and she was like, hey, you really need to start pushing things on social media, letting people know what characters were wearing wigs. I've been talking to people and they have no idea that those people were wearing wigs. And I was like, oh, really? And so she made me aware, like it was like the best compliment ever for me. But I was like, oh my gosh, okay, I got to get it out there. So I started posting and trying to share and tell people who's wearing a wig. And it really, truly has become, wigs have become one of my superpower skills in the business. I love them so much. And I really just love them too because you can really transform someone into the character, especially when you're doing period hair, because you can give it any kind of haircut it needs to make the period look more authentic. Okay, when you combine your technical skills with a deep understanding of Hollywood's intricacies, you stop being just an artist. You become irreplaceable. Do you hear me? You want to be irreplaceable. You want to be so good that they can't ignore you. People recommend you, they request you for projects, they trust you implicitly, and that's everything. Hollywood loves professionals who bring solutions, not problems. Build your knowledge, nurture your relationships, and elevate your craft. It's the secret sauce to a long, thriving career in this exciting, sometimes chaotic, but always rewarding industry. And as I was saying this out loud, Hollywood loves professionals who bring solutions, not problems. I just realized, like, that's not always true, actually. It depends on the person. Certain people get away with causing problems, and I shouldn't say problems, but they kind of rock the boat or they have bad behavior and they never get in trouble. I've always been told that it will eventually catch up to them. I remember a mentor was like, whether it takes 5, 10, 15 years, it'll eventually catch up to them and they won't get hired back from anybody. And we'll see. But there are certain people that I have seen that just kind of get carried away or say no all the time or, get heated and throw fits. It's not always the case, but there are times where you'll see that happening and you're like, why? I don't understand why. Okay, before we wrap up, I want to go back and dive deeper into mentors. Step 1, the role of a mentor in your career. Mentors are more than just guides. They're people who share their experiences, offer honest advice, and challenge you to grow. A mentor's job isn't to hand you success, but to help you build the foundation for it. I've had so many mentors in my life that did this. They guided me, they corrected me, they just really helped pave the way and build my toolkit of skills. And I've just been so grateful for it. Okay, 2, how to find and approach potential mentors. Finding the right mentor starts with identifying people whose careers, work ethic, or values you admire. Here's how to approach potential mentors and build those relationships. Be respectful of their time. When reaching out, keep your message concise and respectful. Express genuine interest in learning from them without pressuring them to commit to anything right away. Always be honest and tell them where you're at, and never pretend to know things. Like, just sponge up, ask questions. Offer value where you can. Mentorship is a two-way street. Even if you're early in your career, you can support their work, promote their projects, or assist in small ways. Plus, you can learn new techniques, new skills that they might not be aware of. The industry is always evolving, and sometimes the mentors are older and they don't know some of the new techniques. So it's a win-win. Help each other out, but don't be arrogant and just be respectful. Doing this shows gratitude and commitment to the relationship. Be patient and consistent. Building a mentorship relationship takes time. Don't expect an instant connection. Instead, stay consistent and let the relationship grow naturally. There's so many people nowadays that just expect you to show them everything, expect you to give your time. That's not how it works. Like, you have to be genuine about this. You can't just, hey, I meet you, and then expect everything right off the bat, or expect to get a job when you've met them one time. No, like, you have to be consistent about letting them know, like, you're interested and you want to learn. You're available whenever they need help. Like, you'll do anything. You'll just wash hair or wash wigs or clean up and be a PA to shadow, whatever it is. Like, just show that you're genuine and you care, and that you're not just trying to use them. All right. Then the qualities to look for in a mentor. The right mentor isn't just someone with experience. Look for someone who is patient, open to teaching, and genuinely interested in helping you grow. A good mentor is someone you respect and trust and who challenges you to improve. Remember, mentors should guide you, but they won't do the work for you. Choose someone who will push you and hold you accountable, which I think I shared, I don't know what episode it was, the department head for American Horror Story. He saw that I was a turtle. So he was like, okay, you're not going to make it in this industry if you keep acting and behaving like this. You have to get quicker. So he would make me do drills. I used to get so frustrated. I'm like, you are so mean. I don't understand this. Why are you doing this to me? Because he knew at the time I wasn't great at clipper cuts. Where I went to school, they didn't allow you to even touch a clipper. You had to do scissor or comb for everything. But he knew that I needed to get quicker and I needed to do it. So I would have to cut this man's hair, this clipper cut, in 30 minutes tops. And he would get really upset if I took 45 minutes. And I was like, oh, and I would get frustrated, like, why are you doing this to me? And then now looking back, I really appreciate that, because he helped me get faster and he helped me understand what it takes time-wise in this business. So that's the kind of mentor you want. Someone that's really going to push you and make you get better, and not just going to sugarcoat it and say it's great and then talk crap about you behind your back, or say that you're a horrible hairdresser or makeup artist. That happens too. The other thing I want to say here is you have to be receptive for constructive feedback. I've worked with many of people that get annoyed if I come over and I tell them that something needs to be tweaked, or it's not looking like the right period, or it's just not looking right. I'm very delicate with it, and I approach it in a very respectful way. I don't do it in a way that I'm trying to make people feel bad about themselves, but for some reason, there's been a few people in my life that anytime you say anything, they get really annoyed. And then sometimes they'll go off and they'll do something completely different. Don't do that. Be respectful. If you're wanting to grow as a hairstylist, especially when a department head comes up to you and is saying, hey, this shape does not look like the period, or hey, this needs to be tweaked because it doesn't match the photo of the real person, or whatever it is, you need to be receptive of that. You need to say, okay, you're right. Or, okay, like I'll give you an example. I had someone where we were matching a real life character. I told this person, I said, hey, whenever you go to stylist, because I wanted to do them first, but we weren't able to. Time-wise, wasn't able to. And I said, okay, put some mousse in it and just give it a blow dry, because later on we're gonna grow this character into, he's gonna be wearing more of like a rockabilly hairstyle, and then right now it needs to be more natural and stuff. Cut to, I didn't get to see how this person did it, and it went on and on and on. There were so many issues with the actor's hair, and it was like always a problem, like a thing. It was a thing. And I was like, what is happening here? Because it shouldn't be having this many problems with it. Well, come to find out, this hairstylist decided not to listen to my guidance and was putting 5 different products in this man's hair. And I'm like, okay, this man has fine hair. It's supposed to look natural and soft. No wonder it's been looking like this and giving so many problems and weighing down and constantly having to touch it or whatever. So I kept trying to say, hey, you should probably just use the mousse and just a hairspray, like a light hairspray. Wouldn't listen. So it was constantly an issue. Well, one day that person had to go do something else, and I did the guy's hair. I did the mousse, did the light hairspray. I literally didn't have to touch him up almost all day long. Like, he just stayed put. There was not this fussing, and the actor was getting annoyed by it and all this stuff. Like, it just, so sometimes, the point of me telling you this is sometimes you just gotta listen to some advice and to some guidance and to some mentorship. Just because you, whatever reason, whether it's you're used to being department head, so you're used to making your own decisions, or the person's younger than you or the same age as you, and you just like and you guys have been doing hair the same amount of time. It's an ego thing. Whatever it is, like, let the ego out the door. You have got to allow yourself to be mentored, or keep yourself open to learning from other people, or you're going to stay in this box. And I tell my sister this all the time, because she can sometimes lean more towards, like, she's gotten better at it, but back in the day, she was a know-it-all, and she was kind of closed off to any kind of constructive criticism. Now she's a lot better. We've had to break down that ego, break down that wall that was up, and now she's learning more. But I always told her, you cannot behave like this, or you're literally going to stay stuck in one place. Your career might go in different places, but as a artist, you are going to box yourself in, and you're never going to become a better artist. Like, it's just, you're just going to stay in one place, okay? So I kind of went off on a tangent there, but yeah, let me see. Let me make sure. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to wrap this up, and let's just go ahead again and do your key takeaway. Talent may get you the job, but industry knowledge is what will get you called back. And also, dissolve your ego. If you have one, you really need to work on this. We all are led by our ego at one point or another. But the more that you can detach yourself from that ego, the more you are going to embody all of these traits that I'm sharing with you on these episodes. It's okay. Going back to the business skills, the more you know about set etiquette, timelines, and how to adapt, the more valuable you become. And trust me, that reputation as a knowledgeable, reliable professional is priceless. If you're serious about elevating your craft and building a career that lasts in Hollywood, I invite you to join my Hollywood Elite membership. When you're watching this, it might be launched already, or if it's not, you can sign up for the wait list to let me know that you're super interested in it. It's going to be loaded with mentorship opportunities, insider insights, and in-depth lessons to level up your knowledge and skills. If today's episode resonated with you, or if you know a friend that it could help out, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a tip, and share it with your friend, because we're all stronger when we lift each other up. Remember, knowledge isn't just power, it's the key to your Hollywood success. Go out there, create, master, and empower. See you on the next one.